Our purpose of this conference is to share knowledge and exchange experiences about company level agile transformations. Everyone has seen good, usually team level Scrum implementation, but how about company-wide transformations? Are there any good examples? Of course, there are some. We have invented prominent representatives of big companies, large enterprises, well-known transformation experts from the local market and also from the international environment. And hereby I would like to announce Avi Schneier, one of the godfathers of the famous and actually the second biggest scaling framework, Scrum at Scale. Our goal for today is to share knowledge and create a cooperative ecosystem, cooperative in a sense that cooperative, but also in the same time competitive, in which we can share our experience, we learn from each other, we inspire each other, we inspire the whole community to improve the success and impact of company level agile transformations. The difference between winners and losers in the business is that the successful companies can first introduce something extraordinary, and then they can renew their product, and also they can renew themselves. Winners of crisis have been, and also in the future they will continue to be, those organizations who are able to constantly innovate, not only their service offerings, but also their management systems. It's like fixing a spacecraft on the move, fixing the operating system on a spacecraft on the move. We will show you how they do it, how big companies do it, and also we will show what we observed during we escorted them on their very unique journey. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zoltan Csaba. I'm a passionate organizer of this event, and I'm also founder and enterprise agile coach at Tal Consulting. And today we'll join Arpad Földesi, my business partner, in this presentation. We at Tal Consulting, a core team of 5 experienced agile enthusiasts, we've been supporting usually large-scale agile transformations, not just here in the domestic market, but also in Central and Western Europe. Tal Consulting is a long-term trusted partner of several international companies. We provide either specific services such as agile trainings, coachings, or we have our own agile assessment framework as well. But our true passion is providing integrated, tailor-made agile transformation services. The list of our customers is long, but maybe you may find a few familiar brands on the slide. When a leadership team initiates a company-level agile transformation, it could be a greenfield or a brownfield one. We often been engaged in so-called brownfield implementations, where during the pre-assessment we realized that there are a lot of valuable good practice in place already. And we believe it's worth to keep this value. Therefore, we would not recommend at all to reset it with a big bang transformation as SAFe suggests. In such a situation, there could be a customer preference as well, as we also experienced that, to keep those valuable practices and build and renew the organization on top of that, apply a step-by-step explorative approach in the transformation. In this way, we can go together and jointly explore solution fitting their needs the most. This journey is actually quite similar to the one when just imagine when a product is developed in a very close cooperation with a friendly customer. Speaking of a product development, we are heavily inspired by product management good practices. Both of us were in the product manager role before, and there are some product design principles that heavily inspired us in the process of agile transformations, and we found them very useful. We would like to showcase some of these today. We believed, and we are not just believe, we also experience that these practices help to patch the spacecraft while the spacecraft is on the move. The first one is business value-based prioritization. So during organizational transformations, just like in product development, it's essential to prioritize the transformation backlog based on business value. No LAR improvements, business value-driven improvements. The leadership team is responsible for defining the business value based on, of course, the common understanding on the challenges and also a shared transformation vision and the expected outcomes. The second one is the iterative co-design. And we will showcase, of course, what does it mean in practice as well. So the iterative co-design means that based on the revealed stakeholder needs, the executive team invites more and more change champions to the transformation and co-design the transformation backlog with them in an iterative way. And last but not least, the MVP approach. So let's find the smallest yet valuable, from a business point of view, valuable implementation step and execute it. Gather feedback and fine-tune just the way how you would develop or improve your product. Yes, that's right. Just develop your organization like your product. Okay, but how to set priorities? The executive team has to develop an jointly, mutually aligned understanding of business needs and business outcomes. So we have worked with several companies, and what we found is that there are some typical challenges. For example, you can see quite some, but let me highlight a few. For example, enterprises with mature products often struggles with legacy architectures and technical debts, or many of the companies we engage with, no matter of the size, either small or big, they are often still tempted on short-term benefits, and they apply project-driven approach instead of product-driven development. Rapidly growing firms, they frequently face, for example, high fluctuation rate and burnout, just to name a few symptoms of crisis. In product management, everything starts with a vision. In agile organizational development, this should be exactly the case. Here you can see some of the typical elements of the organizational vision as we saw. So let me again highlight just a few. Most of the companies we supported, they wanted to fine-tune its roles and responsibilities, as clear roles and responsibilities are prerequisites for better delegation. Or fast-growing companies, they wanted to create such an organizational structure which is flexible enough so it can adapt to its rapid pace of increase in terms of not just size but also complexity. We also experienced that better crafted product management processes are simply inevitable to reach aligned business goals and more effective product portfolio management.
Thank you. Good afternoon and good morning for those in a different time zone. I'm Arpad, Földesi. Let me continue with some examples for those principles. We often use the Scrum at Scale heat map on the left to align our leaders and stakeholders on understanding and evaluating the current state of the organization. Alignment is a prerequisite as a definition of ready to create a transformation plan that all stakeholders commit to. Those columns show how each leader perceives the state of the organization for each Scrum at Scale component, like how effective is the release planning process, the delivery process, how is the cross-team coordination, and so on. Implementing these components and related good practices are necessary for achieving the business agility they strive for. However, it's difficult to self-assess as it requires upfront, deep Scrum at Scale understanding or expert support is needed initially. In addition, we map the collected organizational and business challenges to the relevant Scrum at Scale framework components so that to transparently see where to focus the organization effort to achieve the best value now. This process results in a customized transformation strategy managed in a transformation backlog. It can be repeated during the phased implementation to have reprioritization and alignment in the organization. So now let's see the scaling concept that helps an enterprise to redesign its organizational structure. Scrum and Scrum at Scale separate the responsibilities of what we want to develop in the product owner role and from the how we want to develop and deliver in the Scrum Master role. Both are leaders who serve. We use another important concern, which is product owner and scale product owner roles who focus more on the future, what should be delivered next, and Scrum Master and scaled Scrum Master roles focusing on the present, deliver the best value now. We often use this separation of concerns throughout the whole scaling design from team level to all leadership levels. Using few design principles, we create customized blueprints as prototype for the future organization setup. A part of it is on the right-hand side. It introduces a minimum unified roles, processes with clear interfaces like the APIs, application program interfaces in a product. It enables the organization to quickly refactor itself to the changing business needs. Interface roles in the product organization interact with the remaining non-agile parts of the organization. There's an interface, for example, between the project and the product development organization where customer-facing organization with roles such as project manager, delivery, or account managers manages scope between the customer and the overall product management until scaling is not completed. Just like APIs in the products, in the blueprint we set clear boundaries for roles about their decision rights and responsibilities. So now let's move on to see how blueprints are used for an organizational design. Here, an initial organizational design on the right-hand side emerges through an iterative process to create alignment and commitment within the leadership team and among the development teams. We work in an iterative way to settle the initial organizational design to be implemented. Product development is complex task, so are human beings. You and I are complex creatures. Team of individuals is one order of magnitude more complex. So teams of teams is again one order of magnitude even more complex. So why would we expect to be able to plan in detail how and when such a complex system will react to our perfectly thought out changes? So let's iterate as we do in product development. We analyze the value stream, the product vision, the product architecture, the existing cross-team dependencies, the current production process dependencies to make transparent who needs to release together and why. This iterative analysis results in several alternative versions based on the agreed blueprint. Here we only show one version of the organization design to be evaluated on the design workshop. Like architecture impact analysis and architecture design in case of product development, here the organization designs have their pros and cons to be evaluated as well. On the design workshop, all alternatives are publicly evaluated and voted for. Decision for the target organization design is finally done by the leadership team. It needs to become the normal business for the leadership team to adjust the organization design and structure due to lessons learned during the team setups and due to changing business environment. So, for example, new components may emerge. There's an end of life for a product in the portfolio. There's a new customer acquisition, which may lead to change organizational design to cover the increased feature requests. The APIs defined in the blueprint makes it easy for leadership to quickly adapt the organization. Therefore, this evolving organization design emerges that is aligned and committed among leadership and the development teams. The scaling model from the blueprint enables both horizontal and vertical extensions to the agile organization to adjust incrementally towards the value. We mean horizontal scaling when more teams become part of the agile ecosystem in the value stream. We mean vertical scaling when more products or more product lines need to align and cooperate product-wise because they create value together. In this case, additional governance level needs to be added. The product responsibility appears on all governance levels: component, product line, product family, and portfolio finally. We design teams that are organized around products instead of projects. The what and how responsibilities are always separated. Therefore, not the loudest project leader gets resources or the largest customer and the others just starve, but the most valuable work is prioritized. Now teams can work on overall aligned priorities. From Conway Law, we know that it captures the observation that the organizational structure drives product architecture, and product architecture drives organization structure. So therefore, we map the Scrum of Scrum teams to the product's closely dependent and integrated components. If you refactor your architecture or value stream, so should your teams be rearranged. The first few Scrum team implementations serve as reference model for the others, and then the scaling starts at the product level to align the product teams and then to align the whole product line up to the whole portfolio. And now I hand over to Zoltan.
Thank you. So our org design and also scaling approach has been validated several times already. We have been able to make a real difference to the management operations of actually several domestic and also international organizations. And we managed to preserve what is future-proof from their culture, future-proof from their existing values and strength. And instead of rebuilding the spacecraft, we succeeded to upgrade the operating system on the go as a brownfield investment to reach the desired space destination, so to say, their business goals. Thank you very much for your attention, and we encourage you to approach us if you have any questions or comments. Even after the Q&A session, we are available.